Sorry, guys, my computer's been acting. Um, so we've got this opportunity today as far as on a multi-day scale open up a short position, it looks like, or at least on a one-day scale like an opportunity. But since we have this high at the beginning of the day, there was opportunity there around 10 o'clock, 9:50ish. Right, we had this high in the pre-market, high at the open, declined pretty notably in the death card, and then we come back to another high there between 10 and 11, or between 11 and 12, sorry, and it looks like it came in at 11:15. Not quite as high as the first two, but pretty close. Followed by the priestess. Well, no, matter of fact, off of that high, there's this decline offering opportunity to open up a long position before a noodle will move out of that. And what's interesting is the correlation to the Princess of Wands card is midday. Ugh, and I expected a lower open, so that didn't take place. This is a little interesting reading, but it's pretty on point. Just maybe like I was expecting more of a push here at the end of the day, and it may be that it hasn't come yet, but my sense is that we're probably going to sell. Like, we were near overbought territory, so we're probably going to sell to the downside here into a low, because this move should have happened already, and technically we did push the upper end of a range higher. It's just it was a small range, and usually you see a much bigger move with the Aeon card, but it's not going to be every time. It's just, sometimes it's occasionally it's not much of a move. It just that's how it works. But for the most part, like up in the 90s, you'll see a big move, 90 percentile. All right, so we had this midday trough, 12:30. So it's a little bit later in the day there, but midday low, and then from that midday low, we back to a peak. Would have expected more of a high. It actually looks like there's a peak at 2. A little a little earlier than 2, and then another peak where we pushed the upper end of a range higher. This range right here pushed higher, but we're close enough to overbought that I think that could have been the peak that we sell off from. In which case, we should see lows at the end of the day, pretty notably. Sorry about that, guys. Hey Tiberius, hey Conrad, hey AV, hey Sanska. Do I advise a short from here until the 3rd? Hey, here we go. Well, that's not annoying. All right. Yeah, so it didn't come in as the highest high. It came in pretty close though. Another peak a prominent peak here on the last day after a trough. We went from a trough back to a peak to a trough to a peak, but not a highest high, and clearly a decline off of a peak here. Yeah, and I think we probably have seen the highs. Let me take a look at the 1 year real quick. I don't know. We might go a little higher. It's kind of hard to say because it could be a continuation, the Ace of Wands into the Princess of Wands, which is what I was expecting. But it could also be two separate energies where we have a decline off of the Princess, the Ace of Wands, and then a move to the upside, creating the Princess of Wands, and another move down. Um, so if we see a higher price level, if we do see a higher price level, it's going to be on the second, like at the end of the day, second, third cusp, or like the eighth, ninth. Matter of fact, like more like the ninth or the cusp of the ninth. We might see it on the cusp, somewhere on one of the cusps here of the eighth or ninth. Hard to say. We might see it twice actually, is what happens. But around the ninth there, late in the day on the eighth, the ninth, or early in the day on the 10th, let's say, there might be a high, but that's not as high of a probability as the high being here on the second, or the cusp of the second, third. There seems to be a little bit of a deviation here. Like, we're probably right at the top of this rally here, this Princess of Wands. So would I go short into the third? Probably not. I would wait until the second to go short. And I think in the reading, I probably say the ninth is most likely the highest high, but I sort of feel like it's the. It's hard to say, but I sort of feel like it's the second actually. But this is very sidewaysy kind of energy, ending with a fast sudden move higher, and then I think off of that fast sudden move higher is where we probably have a decline to new lows there. How is BTC looking in August? I'll check out BTC in just a second. IWM this week and next. Hoo, 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 hoo. So I think what happens is we do some sideways in SPY. We do like some really sidewaysy kind of behavior throughout most of the month. So we see highs at the beginning of the month, but it's not like just straight decline. It's more sidewaysy, and then towards the end of the month, there's a decline off of what could be another high. But for IWM, let's see. This week, the completion of a rally next week. Improbable move higher, so there's going to be like probably a decline towards the end of the week. And it looks like Wednesday's probably where, if you were going to short IWM, Wednesday would be the day to do it. But then the following week, there's a pretty big move higher. Is it higher than this week? Yes or no? Yeah, we pushed the upper end of a range higher on IWM next week. iShares Russell 2000 looks like Wednesday of this week is probably the best day to short into next week, but I don't know if I would short because it looks like it's a temporary decline, and then next week we have it's mixed, but especially Monday a big move higher. Hey guys, if you think I skipped you, I did not skip you. I just gotta get to the guys with the little stars next to their name first because they're actually paying for the chat. I'll get back to you. I'll circle right back. Do I expect a good rally for Bitcoin out of the low today after New York Stock Exchange is closed? Yeah, I feel like this was one of my worst Bitcoin readings the month of July. That's how I feel anyways. Okay, so we're already in Bitcoin. I started working on October readings today. Yeah, definitely off there. It looks like I actually got the high and the low backwards, which with these stones sometimes that ends up being the case. That's what's been throwing me off. So I'm determining whether or not I want to continue to use them or I need to recalibrate them somehow. Because that's what kind of threw me off. This definitely looks like a low here on the 25th, 26th. And you can see we hit a low there on the 24th, roughly 24th, and then came back to it on the 28th, but we should see a pretty big move here. '30th. That might have been it. This move out of that trough might have been it. Let me see what August is looking like. We might be a little early. Wait a sec. Where's August? Oh. Right, so then we have this rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a faster move higher and a breakdown through that diagonal trend line into lows. No, okay, so that was... 29th into the 30th, and on the 30th, or we had this peak like on the cusp of the 29th 30th that was a sell off, and then we came back and reused the support that we broke through as support, and then we have this sideways rotation. So it actually does look like we've just kind of like we're just on like the edges of worry, which is a decline to and through support to meet another support, and then you rotate sideways. So we're kind of like at the bottom, that rotate sideways portion of worry, and we should see a notable move higher. As far as it being a highest high, clearly it's not going to be a highest high. And then the following month, you get into lows early on, followed by we push the upper end of a range higher on a multi-day scale here. So really, Bitcoin's going to get pretty bullish in August. It's a mixed August, multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance, and then we have like a push. We push the upper end of a range higher. So I don't know if it's going to be like right when the New York Stock Exchange closes, but there is that victory move um, that we should see. It's really kind of interesting. I'm going back and forth here. I think we probably have a move higher from here, though. Looking at it, whether or not it's the victory card, I think either way we're going to move higher. We have this rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast and move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line into lows there on the second, third, probably on the third. You got to be careful. The Knight of Wands is not a bullish card; it's a bearish card. It's the end of a rally, so you may see a little bit of a rally, or it may follow a rally card, or it may contain within it a little bit of a rally, but the majority of it is going to be a breakdown. So it's pretty mixed, and then we're in lows in October, in August, but looks like we go higher in August substantially. I don't know how, if it's wild. I've never really looked at the moon in relation to Bitcoin, but I could tell you that full moons there's usually much higher volume. AV, if you do short IWM on Wednesday, I wouldn't stay in it more than like I would get out of it by Friday. I would not stay in it long because the following week, especially on Monday, looks pretty bullish. Oh, I did all right with the 1 year reading for July. Okay, well that's good to know. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to determine, AU. I'm having the same issue. Because this could have been the breakout right here. It's just before the 31st. But I think we probably are going to move higher, at least end of day, or moving into the early part of the first, and then we probably go lower from where we are. Not far per se. All right, let me run back and see who I skipped. Okay, so I answered your question, Sanska. It's looking bullish. We pushed the upper end of a range on a multi-day scale higher. And Proof answered your question. Yeah, I don't foresee us going lower in July. So like this, and it's the last day of July, obviously, but I don't see us going lower here. We're going to go lower early in the month of August, but I don't. Let me look at a 1 year to see how far. I mean, overall trend direction, we've definitely been on point for the 1 year too. Um, Interesting. There's a unicursal drop there from the peak, the August peak. So it looks like we go higher into August, but I'm also advised not to chase the rally, the August rally. So you want to be mindful of that. A lot of ground is actually covered. It looks like an early. Well, sometimes the princess of is it the princess or the prince? Princess. So there's a lot of price change there, and it may be back and forth volatility. So unit. What concerns me is that unicursal, which we kind of have a cross reading congruency. We don't see the unicursal here in August, but we do have it in the sneak preview for August. So there's a sharp drop in here. Overall, I think we move to the upside, but there is a sharp drop, and I think it's probably here around the 19th, 20th. We have Mars retrograde on the 3rd, so maybe we open short on 3rd for SPY. Okay, so this is the move, guys, right here. Okay, so this is clearly the move. So this was decline here off of a peak or crest, U-shaped dip, failed attempt to break through key resistance, decline through key support, Aeon card. Okay, so we're going to go into oversold territory. That's why I was a little surprised. I was doubting myself. Here it is. So we're going to go into oversold territory here. This move here should could create a peak or crest that stands out. Just really late on that. And then I think we probably I think we probably open lower. Pretty mixed states, the Prudence card, and it's nullified, so that should be pretty interesting. Timing was a bit off on this reading. I got the sequence of events pretty good, though. So maybe we open short on the third. Oh, you got that unicursal on the second. Yeah, and that's also like sharp drop ruin. It may be that we see the same lows that we have here around the 14th and the 21st ish. Maybe that we see that same low here on the 7th. It's possible because there's sideways. There's a lot of sideways rotation. Like we're already breaking through that on the Russell 2000. Hmm. If the fifth, or excuse me, if the second ends up being a high for the month, then it's very likely that the lowest low's here on the 28th. Oh, I didn't realize there was more. It had me. Uh, I didn't know I had to scroll down for whatever reason. Hey, Karthikeyan. Hey, Robert. Space is currently at 427. Yeah, it's definitely moving now. Hey, ZZZZ. Welcome. And the other one was, hey, buddy. Netflix. All right, so Netflix. Hermes, what are you doing, buddy? Go back over here. You funny guy. Where you going? Hi. You want some attention? Yeah? Give me kisses. Give me kisses. No? Netflix is kind of mixed. Netflix is kind of mixed there. What do you want, buddy? Where are you going? Probably like leaning to the upside on Netflix, but mixed. And S&P 500's mixed too, with like a week's high towards the cusp there. A week's high and probably a month's high towards the cusp there of the second, third. And we have a cross-street incongruency with the Labradorite here. Right? So end of day trade there, opening a short position. What am I doing after TJOS? I'm not sure what you mean. Is it okay to short Meta now for August? Hmm. Let me look at the 1 year on that one. Oh, that was a nice little move at the end. Three crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level there. We had a prominent crest and a prominent peak. It's pretty mixed. I don't know if I would short Netflix right here. Um, because looking at it, it looks like we probably have a peak early in the month and then a decline and then a big move up to the upside mid-month with a selling off towards the end of the month. Peak, decline, big move back, highs at the end of the month, and then we sell off from it. So it's pretty mixed. I don't know. If I was going to short Meta, I would probably wait until the Ace of Wands here on the second. I might regret it on the third, but if I do, I'll feel better about it by the fourth. If I regret it on the third, because I might not. It might be the day. It might be two. The second might be really be the day to do it, or it could be the third. It's hard to say. So I'd go with the second if I'm wrong, and then I'd probably get out even on the fourth. You sold at 456. Where's my mouse? Weird. There's that move. Came really late though. My timing was definitely off. So we should sell off from this, probably open lower. Right? And then decline. A move higher and then a retracement of that move right around the open with the decline that offers opportunity. And it looks like this might be a new high here, like on a, like, not like a new high, but like we'll push the upper end of a range higher and then like have a new, like a higher price level than maybe where we saw here today. Depends on how much to the downside we move. The Fool card as the volume. It could be that there's a big drop, but I'm like 50-50 on these moves overnight lately. It's really pissing me off. Hey, Carolyn. Oh, guys, I got to roll. I have a 415. Is tomorrow's trend bullish? Tomorrow's trend is pretty mixed, but I think we end higher. Pretty sure we end up higher. General direction for shop this week. To the upside pretty unexpectedly. And will ET be below 1325 on August 3rd? Yes or no? No, it will not, April. All right, guys, I got to roll. Thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You do so here on the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders. Well, you know where that tab is. Our angel investors are sending 5% of their profits forward to one of those charities, 5% of those profits back to the channel, and spending the rest out of love or reinvesting. And when you follow those rules of karma, the universe will send it back to you tenfold through